Hi everyone, it's Gretchen with Find Your Wave Creations, and we're going to get started here in just a minute to create our OOAK October kit, which is our 4 Slimline cards. So if you purchased the kit already, you should have 4 different envelopes that each have a card in them. And the supplies that you're going to need is a tape runner or some type of liquid adhesive. If you want to use pop-up foam dots, that would be good as well. Of course, we always want our scissors. Tweezers are going to be handy for a couple of things we need here, and then some type of black pen or marker. And then optional is if you want some type of distress paint, which is what I used on these 3 hearts here, or if you want some type of ink to use as well. So we'll go ahead and wait a couple minutes while everybody gets going here and joins. Kit, which is our 4 Slimline cards. Okay. And if somebody's on, can you guys let me know if I'm sideways again? It looks like I'm sideways when I'm looking on my iPad, but I just want to make sure before I rotate you guys. I am sideways. Thank you, Carla. Okay. Let's see if Facebook will let me change it. Okay, that looks finally like the right orientation. So hopefully you guys are all doing good here, and I'll try and confine myself to just this area here. Okay, so the first card that we're going to make is the Thankful, Grateful, Blessed card. And I'm just going to go through the order of all the cards here so that you guys can see them and get them in order for your envelopes. So Thankful, Grateful, Blessed is the first one. The second one we're going to make is the yellow Be Happy card. So you have 2 different Be Happy cards. So if you look in your different envelopes, pick the one that has the yellow cardstock for it. And then the third one is our black and yellow Be Happy card. So you'll have orange for your card base, and then ribbon and some flowers as well. And then the last one is the Miss You card, which has our blue mirror sparkle paper and then our silver sparkle paper on it. So if you want to go ahead and grab those so that you have them in the correct order, we'll go ahead and get started here. So the first one I'm going to open is our Thankful, Grateful, Blessed card. So in your envelope, and each of your Slimline cards came with an envelope today. So in your envelope, you've got 3 wooden hearts, and then you should also have a sheet of sentiments that looks like this. So this gives you options of which font you want for your Thankful, Grateful, Blessed. And so I picked the script font, and I've already cut mine out so that I have them ready to go. And I also popped mine up with the foam dots on the back. So if you want to do that while I'm talking through this, feel free to grab that and do that as well. And this Slimline card has a craft cardstock base. So it's just your 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that's cut down so that it's 8.5 by 7, and then we fold it at the 3.5 mark to get an 8.5 by 3.5 Slimline card. The other things that you have in your envelope is you have a Slimline card liner, which is a thin white piece of paper. This is acid-free paper, so it's different than just regular copy paper. This is cut so that it will go inside your card and leave an 1/8 inch border all the way around the inside. And this makes it easier if you want to write a sentiment, or if you want to stamp something on your Slimline insert, feel free to do that as well. But I'm just going to tuck it inside my card for now. Then the next thing we have is this gold sparkle paper. So it's very similar to the silver one that we're going to use in the Missy one, but this is a gold tone. This is going to go down first. And then after that, you also have your tri-panel frame, and then that's going to go directly on top of the gold one. So when the gold and the black are together, you shouldn't see any of the gold on the outside. You should just see the gold in the 3 boxes inside. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to start with my black 3 window frame, and I'm just going to apply double-sided adhesive to all of the parts of my black frame here. So I'm getting all the way around the outside, and then I'm also doing the 2 center strips that separate my windows here. Then I'm going to take my gold cardstock and just lay it over. It doesn't have to be perfect because it is just slightly smaller than your black, but lay it over so that it is no gold showing on the outside, and you'll see it's just slightly smaller. So mine is crooked, but it doesn't matter because from the front you can't see the gold. And then you can pop this up with foam adhesive if you want as well. I just did the sample, and I'm going to do this one with just regular double-sided adhesive and have it flat on the card base. But if you want to add foam adhesive and pop it up, feel free. And if you prefer to use liquid adhesive instead of foam adhesive, feel free to use whatever adhesive you'd like to use on your cards. So now that we've got our gold frame behind our black windows, and then we've got our black window frame on top, and we've adhered that all the way down to our card base. What we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and add our hearts, or decorate our hearts, depending on which one you want to do. So if you want, you can add just the wooden hearts in the center, and if you like where they have knots or imperfections on them, that's fine. You can leave it that way, or you can flip it over so that you just have the hearts. In the sample here, you'll see I painted them all. So I just painted them, and I used these Tim Holtz Distress paints. So the colors I used were this blue, which is broken china, and then I used green, which is mowed lawn, and then I used this kind of plum color, which is seedless preserves. And you can color them whichever way you want, or you can leave them blank with the wood. I've already pre-colored another set of mine so that I don't have to have you guys sit and watch me paint. But I would advise painting or inking yours first, whichever you prefer to do. And then I am applying liquid adhesive to the back of these because I find that works a little bit better than just using double-sided adhesive when I'm using things other than just paper to apply to my cards. So the first one I've got is the green one. We've got that adhered down there. Again, I'm just applying glue to the back of my heart and then sticking it down. And then the last one is my blue one. We've got the green, and then my purple, and then my blue. We'll go ahead and stick that guy down as well. So this is a pretty simple card to make. If you have just regular 8.5 by 11 cardstock and you want to make some slimline cards, again, the measurements are your 8.5 by 11 sheet. You're going to cut down the 11-inch side so that it is 7 inches long instead of 11 inches long. So you'll have an 8.5 by 7 piece of cardstock, and then just score it along the 3.5-inch line, and you'll have your card base for you. So the next thing we have is our sentiments. So again, I've got my Thankful, Grateful, Blessed, and I chose the script font here. Again, you've got 3 different fonts that you can choose, a little bit bigger printed one, a smaller version of the printed one, and then you've got the script one. Or there's enough cardstock on here, if you don't like any of these fonts, you can go ahead and just cut strips and then handwrite the font if you want. So on the sample one, you can see I inked the edges, and I just use my Tim Holtz Distress Ink, the walnut stain, and just applied it with a dauber with the felt on the end. These ones I'm just going to leave as they are because I kind of like the look of them without the ink on the edges as well. So I'll show you what that looks like. And then what I did when I applied mine is I just kind of centered them so that it's underneath the point of the heart. And that seemed to be the easiest thing instead of trying to find out exactly where the center of the window was. And again, I already put little foam adhesive squares on the back of mine, so I'm just peeling off that plastic and then applying it down. So that is what we've got for our Thankful, Grateful, Blessed card so far. And then we're going to go ahead and pop open the top. There's a couple different ways you can adhere this if you want. Some people just adhere along the actual score line. And so they put either adhesive right along the score line on the craft card base, or you can put adhesive right here. What I like to do is actually adhere it to this top part so that this is stable, but there's a flap here. Again, it's totally optional to you, but I'm going to go ahead and just put double-sided adhesive along the top and bottom of one side of that slimline card insert. And then I like to line up the bottom where the adhesive on the top is not touching. And then pull that down and then actually just shut my card over the top of it. And kind of press down where that adhesive is so that it stays. And then when you open it up, you've got your card insert, and then you've got a little flap so you can add sentiments here. If you wanted to, you could even add something here, or adhere a gift card or something. If you're looking to give somebody a gift card, that works as well. So any questions on this one? We ran through it pretty fast, but hopefully that wasn't too fast for anybody. And again, you've got your envelopes for each of these, so it fits inside your envelope when you're done. And then you can just add your stamp and mail it. And I tried to make sure all these were ones where they're flat enough and they weigh little enough that you should only need one stamp to mail each one of these, unless you're going to add additional embellishments that don't come with your kit. Okay, so that's Thankful, Grateful, Blessed. The next one we're going to do is our yellow Be Happy one. And this one is actually the most complicated, even though it looks pretty simple. The reason it is a little bit complicated is because we are actually going to re-put back in the little swirls in parts that go inside of our letters. And I'll show you what I mean here as we go through your kit. So when you open up your envelope for this one, you're gonna have a piece of paper that has tape on it. It's blue tape. This is just similar to washi tape. It's actually the tape that I use to stick down stencils and stuff when I don't want them to move when I'm inking them or painting them. And there's a strip that just has 4 little spots on it, and then there's another strip that has more on it behind it. Those are the little pieces that actually go inside of our words here. So the top one is for the be and the bottom was for the happy. So I'm just going to set that aside. The next thing we have is the actual be happy cutout for the die. So this is just a fun little tip for when you're cutting out sentiments for a card and you want to actually use all of the pieces. You can go ahead and position your die on whatever side of the paper that you want, so that you can use this as one card and then use the actual cutout of the words as a second card, which is what we're going to be doing here in a second. So our third card is going to be this Be Happy card, and it's simply using the actual letters that we cut out of the die, whereas this is using the negative of the cardstock. So we've got that. Our cardstock for this one, for the base of our card, is a black piece of cardstock. And then again, we've got our Slimline insert, so that you can go ahead and actually write something inside your card. So that pops really well on the inside with the black there. So for this one, I just want to show you kind of what I did from a die perspective. So if you want to recreate this on your own, you can go ahead and do that. So the die we use for this one is from the Paper Cut, which is another small business that is really good for all of us to support, like Brian was saying in the last break. They've got some really awesome dies. They also have a lot of pre-cut cards for bases and envelopes if you want. So what I did for this one is I took my die and then I went and put it underneath my paper, or on top of my paper, sorry. So you can see where that cuts that out evenly. And then what I did was I took this blue tape that I have, and you can use washi tape if you don't have tape that you use for like stenciling. But this tape is really easily removable from paper without actually tearing your paper or messing it up. So I just stuck this onto the paper on the back, so that basically it would capture the little pieces that you end up weeding out of your insides of your letters. And then that is the piece that is stuck to your clear film that we're going to put inside the letters for our card. So if you guys have questions about that, let me know, and I can add or type out the instructions for that into the chat once we're done here. So for this one, I just have the Be Happy laid flat. And I'm going to use liquid adhesive on this one just because I want to make sure I can get glue into these little parts of the words there. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply my liquid adhesive along the outside of my yellow cardstock, and then also get it onto some of these little bits that are in the inside as well. And this time, usually I use Barely Art glue. This time I'm using the Tombow aqua glue. It's really good, especially when you're just doing simple embellishments, or paper on paper, even wood on paper, it's good for. Okay, so I've got my black cardstock, I've got liquid adhesive on the back of my yellow Be Happy paper, and then I'm going to go ahead and just line this up so that I've got that 1/8 of an inch border around it, and then I'm going to very gently press on the Be Happy so that I don't have extra adhesive that oozes out of there. So we've got that all laid out. Now this is the most complicated part of all 4 of these cards. Is you're just going to go and you're going to peel off your blue tape from the clear packing, and then you're going to take each one of these pieces and apply it onto your card so that you can see that it looks like my Be Happy that I have here on the bottom for the sample. So the first tall one, the really tall skinny one, that is actually for inside the top of the B. So I'm using a pair of tweezers, and then I've got some liquid adhesive here, and then I'm just going to go ahead and stick that on your liquid adhesive. And then I'm going to go ahead and just apply that down and then hold it down with my fingernail there, and then stick it inside the top of the bee. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the pieces that were directly underneath it. So I've got the kind of wide, short one that's next, that has a slight angle to it. And the angle goes down on the bee. Maybe it goes up and goes up. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and stick it in there like that. So I've got the inside of the bee now, and I put a little bit too much liquid adhesive on there, but thankfully it dries clear. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the remaining two little circles for my E's. So I've got this one, just going to go right here, and then I've got this one, just my last one for the B. It's going to go in my second E. And we'll go ahead and stick that on there. And liquid adhesive is really nice to use if you're going to do this technique, because it allows you time to move it around, to position it the right way in case it doesn't go where you want, like it is right now. And again, nobody knows what the original die looks like on this one, so if your letters aren't perfect, it's not a big deal. So the second part, we're going to do the same thing with the H for the happy. So I'm going to take mine and pull it off here. I pulled the little swirl guy that looks like this. If you can see him, and he's going right inside the H there, where you can see it here on this one. So I'm just going to flip him over so I have the back side, and then stick a little bit of adhesive on him, and then put him inside my H. He goes like a slight angle here to follow the curve of that empty black spot that's there. Another thing you can do if you don't want to do this technique and do the liquid adhesive is if you just have like score tape or some double-sided adhesive sheets that you want to use, you can use that for in your stick it to the back of your paper before you even cut it, and then all of your little inside parts of your letters here for the negative parts will already be stuck to that paper. You just have to make sure you don't lose them when you weed it. Okay, so I've got the next little piece, which is, this one is actually part of one of my P's. So I'm going to stick him in there. Somehow I skipped over this big piece, which is part of my A. So I'm going to go and grab that piece for the A. I'm sorry, my tweezers are not cooperating with me at the moment, so. Okay, so I've got the long kind of oval here. Just gonna stick some liquid adhesive on him and do our A. He goes with the skinny side down. I look at my sample one. Okay, two more pieces. We've got the other part of our second P. Oh, I almost dropped him on the floor. So again, we're going to take that guy, make sure we're flipped over onto the back side of him. And if you look at these, you can tell which side is the front and the back. There's like a slight rise to the front of these. And the back has like a slight indentation on them. Okay, so I've got my second P. I'm going to stick him on there. And then the last one is my little swirly guy here. That's inside of my Y. So let me just check the chat here real quick. Make sure nobody has any questions. Okay. And some of mine still have the blue tape on it from when I stuck it onto the thing. I peeled that off, I think, out of all of yours when I put it in the kit. So that part where you see me peeling off the blue tape is already done for you and your kids. Okay, so the last one I got is inside my Y, so it looks like this in the sample. So we're gonna go ahead and stick them in there. And again, since I'm using liquid adhesive, I can shift them a little bit. Try and move him up just slightly. There we go. Okay, so that's your Be Happy. That was the most difficult part of any of the cards. So from here on out, it should be easy peasy. Okay, so the next part we're gonna do is you've got a sunflower in here. I just want you to you've got a little bag that has the sunflowers and it also has your white cards that we're gonna use on the second Be Happy card. So I'm just gonna position that on my paper so I can kind of see where it's at. And then you've got 3 different bees. You've got kind of this cartoony looking bee with his little swirly antennas. And then we've got our little baby bee. Those are the 2 we're going to use on this card. And then on this one, which is our one that has a gold stripe on him instead of the black stripe of the bigger 2, we're going to use on the next card. So for here, you can use them as regular brads, except for I already stuck my paper down. But if you ever do that, and I did it on purpose so you can actually see this tip, if you ever do that and you want to still use your brads, you can just take a pair of tweezers or even a pliers works, and just pull inside to separate out the 2 little tongs and then twist it, and you'll get the back part of your brad that comes right off. And then you can do the same thing to the second one. And now you just have 2 little metal embellishments that you can put wherever you want. So you can see he's just blank on the back. So for him, I'm just going to go ahead and stick some liquid adhesive on the back of him. And then stick him up in this top corner of my paper. And you can kind of do yours wherever you would like it to be. Our sunflower is not stuck down yet, so we've still got some time to maneuver him. And then you're gonna have your little bee, which you're gonna do that same thing too. You're gonna just twist each of the 2 parts of the brad back and forth. Of course, you could do this as like a traditional brad, and before you put down your accent paper of the yellow, poke a hole in your paper and then stick your brad in there and then spread out the 2 little tongs on the back. But I forget that a lot of times, so I wanted to show you guys this technique where you could actually do it after the fact, instead of having to worry about trying to peel this yellow paper off and then stick it back down. Optionally, instead of using like a liquid adhesive or regular double-sided adhesive on here, you can go ahead and actually pop these up with foam tape as well. So before I stick down my little guy, I've got my sunflower here. I'm just going to take my, I'm just using a journal pen. I'm just going to take that and mark just slightly under my sunflower. So I've got a black dot there. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to draw a little swoop with a circle in it for the top of our little baby bee to sit up on top of. And then we've got our big bee over there in the corner that's going to line it up. So you're just drawing like this, and you want it to end at the base of your bee. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's art, so imperfections are good. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my little baby bee to the top of that little swirl. I try to line his tail up so it looks like he's actually like in flight, and that's what the swirl is. And then finally you've got your sunflower that's last. So these sunflowers have this little plastic thing on the back. If you take your tweezers, you can just pop that off. I find that makes it easier to actually adhere it onto the page. And then you can go ahead and add your adhesive to the back of him and then stick him on your paper. And he's gonna take just a minute to dry. And then I also like to take this center part out and put liquid adhesive on the back of him so that he actually completely stays and doesn't like pop off of the page. Because once you remove that plastic part, it makes it more susceptible to not adhering and falling off the page. So I just add some liquid adhesive along the outside and then on that little center circle, and then just glue my little inside of my sunflower back down. And then for the inside, we're just, again, taking that white liner for your Slimline card. And again, my technique I like to use is to put double-sided adhesive on the back of the top part and then line up the bottom and close it so that you have this open part on the bottom where this one lifts up. You can adhere both of these down if you want, or you can just adhere along the center seam as well. Those are two other kind of common techniques that I've seen people use. So I'm not going to do that right now as far as sticking that in there, because I want to make sure my adhesive on my flower and my bees has a little bit of time to dry. So I'm just going to set him aside. So that's our Be Happy card. I saw somebody make a comment about they're not very good about drawing swoops. Yeah. I actually practiced on just a regular piece of paper before I did the sample, but then since then I just kind of freehanded it and decided it's what it is. If I don't like it, it's not a big deal. It doesn't have to be perfect. So that's our first two cards. Looking on the chat, it looks like we're still good. Nobody has questions. Okay, so we're gonna go to our third card now, which is our black and gold Be Happy card. So if you open up your envelope for that one, that is gonna have a couple of different things in it. It's got your ribbon. So this is really nice wired ribbon that is translucent where the flowers are not, which makes it really nice for it to actually stay on your paper. And then you've got your actual Be Happy words. Oh, my bee must still be in my envelope. Okay. And then we've got, looks like I lost my bee somewhere. And then you've got your orange cardstock base with the insert again inside, so that pops really well off the orange, gives you that nice 1/8 inch border all the way around. And then we've got our black that's going to go on top of the orange on the outside. And then you have in your bags that had your bees and your flowers in it, you have two little white flowers. And then we've got our one bee that we have left that has the little golden stripe across his body. So on this one, we're actually going to use the brad like an actual brad, and then we're gonna put the ribbon over here on the side. And what I like to do when I have ribbon that I'm putting on something, especially when it's translucent, I like to actually adhere it to the back, so that's why I gave you guys a pretty good length of ribbon. You can cut that down to smaller if you want, but I just line it up along the left hand side of my card, and then I just fold it using the cardstock as the thing to kind of use from a crease perspective. And then once I've got the top part done, I just move it so that I can do the same thing on the bottom. So this isn't adhered yet, but you can see on the back side where that is there, and it's just bent over the top of the card. The wired ribbon really helps with that. It makes it easier. So, I mean, I can shake my card right now and it's not going anywhere. But what I like to use for adhesive on these is just double-sided tape, or I like score tape in this instant, where it's already on a roll and I can just cut it off. So I'm just going to cut 2 pieces that span across the back. Again, you're not going to see this. Some people even use Scotch tape. I just don't like to use Scotch tape because I like to stick with scrapbook products that I know are acid free. But if you're not worried about that, then you can use whatever you want on the back. You could even use washi tape if you want to keep it down, because again, nobody's going to see it, because we're going to stick this down to our card base here in a little bit. Okay, so adding my adhesive, kind of moved my ribbon around, so I'm going to make sure it's lining up with that left edge of the card again, and then pull it tight before I stick it down on both of the ends. So that's just stuck. You can see just a little bit of that adhesive coming through, but then when you put it on the front, you won't see that at all. So what I'm going to do next is I am just going to kind of eyeball based on just kind of laying my flowers here and then putting my letters on here. And again, you guys have the letter B. Mine's somewhere on my station that I can't find right now. And then just to kind of figure out where you want your little bee to be. So that kind of looks good to me. You could use whatever pokey tool you want. Since I already have my tweezers out, I'm just going to go ahead and use my tweezers to poke my hole. So I just stick him through the paper, and then I've got my little brad, and I have like the fancy tool for this. It's just not on my workstation right now. So okay, and then he's going to be flying kind of up at an angle to this upper right hand corner, so just kind of position him like that in the little hole I have before I flip him over, and then I just use the back of my tweezers to spread these out, and then to kind of rub them so that they're flush on the bottom. So you can buy the tool that actually has the thing for it, but I just use my tweezers for it. It works just as well. Okay, so now that's the last step we need to do before actually adhering our black cardstock onto our orange card base. So you should have your wired ribbon over here adhered to the back of the page, so there's no adhesive on the front, and then we've got our bee brad that is stuck through the page. And so I'm going to go ahead and use liquid adhesive on this guy just because I have this ribbon on here, and sometimes my double-sided adhesive that's in my tape gun doesn't like to stick as well to ribbon. But there are other adhesives like that score tape that I just used that I could use again for the back of this, or you could use red line tape if you're a red line tape fan like I am. So I'm just pushing that down a little bit so that it stays on there, and then that's easy peasy. So we've got that all done. You've got 2 flowers here that are both on the same stem. I actually kept my stem on the sample one and then also put adhesive on the back of the stem and then on the back of the 2 flowers. If you don't want to do that and you just want your 2 flowers separate, you can cut your stem shorter like I'm going to do with this one, and then just, you know, throw this extra piece away. And then you've got your 2 flowers. You can position them wherever you want. I just kind of stuck them over here so they aesthetically just looked off to the side close to my ribbon, and tied that in, and then we're going to use liquid adhesive to put the Be Happy words on. So we've got our liquid adhesive here. I'm going to stick him on the back of this flower and then just stick him down. I'm just going to hold him here for a second while I flip that second guy over. Let's see if I can multitask here and put adhesive on this guy at the same time that I'm holding this first one down. Okay, so there's the first guy, here's the second guy. And if you want yours in a different position than where I've placed mine on my card, feel free to move yours wherever you would like. I just kind of like them down in this corner here. So I've got these two that are going to stick right there. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing we did with the insides of the last card. With our letters, we're just going to add adhesive. Again, I use the liquid adhesive. If you've got the like double-sided like micro sticky dots that comes in like the sheets, you can use that as well. And just stick your sentiment down on that, and then get all those little mini teeny tiny pieces of glue dots onto it, and then adhere it onto your page. But I'm just going to go ahead and stick this down. Again, I'm just very gently tapping it onto the page so that any extra glue that I had on there doesn't ooze out. And then your B and your two E's are separated. So the B is separate from the two E's for your cutout, for your die sentiment here. Again, my B is somewhere on my workstation. Now that I have one word down, I like to use my tweezers to stick the second one down so that I can position it a little bit better. And these ones just kind of line up horizontally on the page, but if you want to put yours in the same position of the original die and have them one on top of the other, you could do that with your B over here, or even put your flowers to the right hand side of your card. A lot of different options with what you can do with this one. So again, my B is around here somewhere, but this is the one that's actually done the sample, where I've already here done my B. And then I did the same thing with the liner inside, where I put adhesive on the top here, and that allows the back to flip open. And I'm going to wait to do that just because this is still drying. And I just noticed my Y is kind of jumbled up next to this guy with the way the paper bent. So because I'm using liquid adhesive, I can still separate him. So now I've got a little more black in between my P and my Y on the top. Okay. So that's the Be Happy card for the second one. So again, if you have any questions, just let me know. And again, Slimline cards, super easy to do, especially if you have your 8.5 by 11 paper. Just cut it to 8.5 by 7 and then fold it at the 3.5 mark to get your card base. And then you can add whatever you want on top of that. Okay, so that was our Be Happy card for the second one. So we're going to set that aside. And then our last card is our Miss You card. And I saved this for last because it is the simplest one to do, but it is a very elegant card just because of the paper that we're using in it. And this way, if we ran out of time, you guys could figure this one out by yourself. But we're doing really well on time. So inside our envelope for our Miss You card, and again, I'm going to put the sample down at the bottom of my page here. You've got your white card base. So this one doesn't have a liner since it's a white card base. And then you've got this beautiful kind of royal blue mirror card, which I love this paper. When you move it, it has like a very distinct kind of flow to it, and it has that kind of mirror or sparkle effect. So that's going to be our accent on the front of our card. And then you also have in your envelope the Miss You sentiment. And this Miss You sentiment is cut from another paper that I really love. And you can't probably see it on the actual photos that we posted ahead of time. But it is a very pretty silver shimmer paper. Not glitter, so you don't feel the texture of it, but you see it on there. So then when you apply it on here and people get it and they actually like move it back and forth in the light, it's just a really gorgeous, elegant card. And super, super simple to put together. So this one only has 2 steps. We're gonna adhere the blue onto the front of our white cardstock, leaving that 1/8 inch border around the sides. And then we're going to use liquid adhesive, or if you have those super sticky micro dots, you can use that on your sentiment as well. And since this is just our mirror card paper onto our cardstock, I'm just going to use my tape gun, double-sided adhesive again, and go ahead and stick that right down onto our paper. And then I've got our Miss You sentiment. This one's a little bit trickier. So you want to make sure your liquid adhesive has a pretty small point to it to just put that adhesive on. And again, you don't need adhesive everywhere on it, just enough to make sure it's stuck down all throughout the sentiment. So I'm not putting any on the actual like teeny tiny swirl that's going through the S's and the U's. I'm just doing the letters instead, and then I'm doing this bottom swirl that runs underneath all the letters. And that will minimize the amount of glue that oozes out as well. So now that I've got that all stuck on there, I just put it right in the middle because I like it like centered like that. Again, I'm just going to take my tweezers so I can position it. So if you wanted to move it here or here and add a flower or some other embellishment there, you could. I just wanted this one to be a super simple, elegant card. So I'm just going to stick it right here in the middle. And then I'm just going to, again, lightly tap with my fingers to go ahead and stick that down. And again, this adhesive dries clear, so any little bits like I just got there, they're just going to wipe right off when they're dry, and you won't be able to see them. So that is our Miss You card. Super, super simple, but really pretty, really cute. Yeah, so Penny asked if I used any other of the paper cut products besides the Be Happy die. The only other paper cut product that I used is this actual blue mirror card paper. So they sell this, it's under their specialty section on their website. They also sell, like, you can buy just like the Slimline blanks. You can even buy like some of the window frames for Slimline cards and regular size cards as well. So if you want to do an A2 or A6 or A7, they have all those as well. I just have dies to cut out the window unit, so I didn't actually use anything from the paper craft for that. But this blue mirror card paper is from them, and then the Be Happy sentiment is from them. This Miss You sentiment die is actually from Elizabeth Craft Designs, and it's just a simple, you know, one phrase sentiment from a die perspective. I don't know if this is still available. I've had it for years. But that's on Elizabeth Craft Designs from that. And then again, this one, you can see it's the papercot.com is where the Be Happy die, and then this blue mirror card paper is from as well. So they're both small businesses. Please support them as well as supporting everybody else that's here as well. So that's it for our Slimline cards. I want to give you just a quick preview of what we're going to have up for November. So since that's our next show is at the end of November, I wanted to do something kind of looking forward into 2026. So we're going to go back and do another little mini album. The pages are already going to be adhered to the base for you, but this is our bucket list album for 2026. So it literally is shaped like a little pail. And then we've got a bucket list sentiment on it, and then 2026 here. And then the pail opens up. If you flip it around to the back side, it's got a closure here. And then this is a Velcro closure to hold the little pail handle there. And then when we open it up, we've got our bucket list collection from Reminisce, which is no longer available, but I purchased mass quantities of it so that we have plenty to do for these kids. So each one of these, I'm just gonna grab one of these envelopes so you can see, each one of these is a little pocket. So we're going to use foam adhesive to go ahead and put it around the sides and the bottom of each one of these pages. So we've got the I haven't been anywhere, but it's on my list, just some other embellishments from the kit. And then we also have your bucket list. So when you go to make your New Year's resolutions or just things you want to do for next year, there's 10 different lines here with little check marks, so you can mark them off as you go. So whether you want to travel or you want to eat healthier or work out more or craft more, make something every day that's creative or once a week or whatever, you can put that on your bucket list here. This one I did kind of travel themed. You'll have a variety of papers that are included in your kit. The outside will be this wood grain. And then each one of these pages here that are again shaped like the bucket, these are all pockets as well. So you can go ahead and stick whatever memorabilia you have from each one of those. If you want to go to a concert, for example, throw a photo of the concert here and stick your ticket stubs and other things in there. But you've got 6 double-sided pages in here, so it's 12 pages front to back for your base pages. And then on the back, we're going to build a waterfall as part of the class in November. And so each one, I chose sentiments for the front, and then the back is where you can actually just adhere a photo to those, or you could even add a piece of cardstock and journal there if you prefer to do that. So that's our bucket list album. I'm going to show you what the actual collection kit looks like here. So this is the collection kit from Reminisce. This is from a few years ago, from 2017, and they don't offer it anymore, but I loved it, so I reached out to the company and asked if we could get a bunch of it, so they had some more created for me just for this class. So again, we've got this gorgeous bucket list paper. We use this on the back of one of the pages. And then you have several different sentiments to choose from as you make your waterfall and other pages, and then accents as well. And then this here, if you can see, I'm just going to open it up since we have a few more minutes. I want to show you the sticker sheet that comes with this. So the sticker sheet on this one is in the back. So the My Bucket List with the 10 check boxes here, that's actually part of the sticker list or sticker page. And then we've got the I've been everywhere, haven't been everywhere, but it's on my list one as well. And then there's a couple other ones that we didn't use in the album that you can use within here. And then this bucket list one here that's in the gray, that's a sticker. That is what we use on our little tag that goes on the front of the album. So you can see those are from the same ones. So you've got this sticker sheet, a big 12 by 12 sheet of adhesive back stickers there. And then you've got, these are all double-sided pages. So you've got this page, and then the back side has a bunch of different sentiments on it. We've got this page, and again, this page and the last page I use were the same. So these are the same papers. You just get 2 of them, so you can use the front of one and the back of the other one without having to worry about which one you're going to choose, which is part of what I like about this Reminisce collection. Then we've got this one, the Learn a New Skill. Again, you're getting 2 of these papers. This has got all of the different boxes here, and then the back of that is the bucket list. And so we've got this pretty paper. We actually turn this one upside down and use this as one of the pages in there. And then you have one of these that you can use for throughout the album. And then this Swim with the Dolphins and other sentiments is another one. You got 2 of these sheets as well, and then the back is several more. So a lot of these are travel related, but there's also things like run a marathon, or here you'll see publish a book. Or this one, get a tattoo, learn a new language. So there's things other than just travel as part of the bucket list here. You can always create your own if you don't like any of these for the things you want. If you want to go stomp grapes or dance in a flash mod, those are options. And then this one has more on the back of it as well. So all of those sheets of paper are all going to come with your kit. So that's 8 sheets total. You've got 4 different ones that are double-sided. So it's actually 16 different designs. Since it's a different design on the front and the back. And then you have your additional sticker sheet that comes with that as well. So that is our bucket list album for 2026. That will go live on the website at the beginning of November, just because I want to make sure that we've got everything ready to go before we actually list it, so I can start shipping pretty quickly after you guys order. So that is that one. The last thing I want to say is we have a special that has been running for a few days now, and it runs through the end of the month. So midnight on Halloween is when the sale ends, but if you use code OOAK10, you can save 10% off of your entire order. So if you didn't order the Slimline kits and you want to get them still, we still have more in stock that we can ship. You can use the 10% off to purchase that, or anything else on the website up until October 31st. So once again, I'm Gretchen from findyourwavecreations.com. So follow us on Facebook or Instagram, and feel free to go out and buy something while your sale code is still available. And that's it for us for October. We will see you guys again in November. I hope you guys have a great day and fun crafting with all the rest of the vendors that are coming up. Thanks again. Bye.